Europe doesn't need any external enemies to collapse. It's doing a pretty good damn job of that on its own. We don't need Trump, Xi Jinping, Putin to blame for. We are in complete self-destruction modus. The pace of destruction and stupidity is unprecedented. The political decisions based on stupidity or incompetence, knowing or unknowingly, do not qualify for that position of power. They despise us. They lie to us, they laugh at us, then they tax us, they regulate us and tell us again everything is fine. All while growth outlook, the gap to the US and China is widening, Europe's growth is stagnating, total collapse. Compounding, we are on the perfect trajectory to becoming a third world shithole continent. From becoming a developed to a developing nation. We will be the mecca of tourism, and that's all, in an unstable, unsafe environment. Today, I want to show you Europe's catastrophic policy decisions and actions just based on the last 2 weeks, and wrong signals sending from Netherlands, from the UK, from Spain, from Germany, from our European Parliament, that not only hurt our futures, Europe's future, but indeed diminish and undermine trust, credibility, and especially democracy. Exactly democracy, what our leaders here claim to be. And it all goes back to a deeply rotten, broken system where incentives are misaligned completely with the output. In the end, I will show you exactly what you can do about it, and you need to have a plan, different plans, plan A, plan B, plan C in place. So yes, it is indeed time to get off the couch, stop watching Love is Blind. We need to wake up now collectively. Otherwise, Europe is going down irrevocably. If you want to support me and independent market research, the best and free thing to support is subscribe and smash that like button. Many thanks. Let's start with the Netherlands. Yesterday, the Dutch political leaders agreed and passed a bill legally on taxing unrealized gains. That is so unbelievable. I had to read and check that source, that information several times because that is so unbelievable. Don't get me wrong, I love Dutchland. Shouts go out to my friends in Maastricht and in Amsterdam. But I would have never thought that some countries are more stupid than here in Germany in terms of political decisions for the population, for the citizens. What Germany did politically in terms of ideological energy decisions, that we kept our nuclear safe, clean energy, yet taxing unrealized gains, and not, to my understanding, not only on crypto, on any sort of investment, that means real estate, stocks, any investments you have, sends the total wrong signals. It will drain out any capital out of the country. It means if you invest, for example, 100 euros into something, you make 50% gain and you don't sell it, you will have to pay 30, 40%, whatever the tax rate is on that, even if you don't sell. So if the stock drops below 100 and you have a loss, you burnt capital because you paid taxes, yet your money, your investment is down anyway. It will drain any form of capital out of it. It's unbelievable. People with money will leave the country for sure. Who is going to invest? Maybe the strategy is twofold. And that's what I suspect, is they will first introduce it in the Netherlands and then slowly expand it to other countries within the euro area. Your hard-earned, already taxed money in your bank account. So then later, when the introduction of the digital euro happened, they can suppress you by just clicking and hitting that button. Financially suppress you with an instant. It sends a total wrong signal in terms of ownership, investments, rights, allocation of capital. It's just unbelievable. But yet seeing that level of self-destruction, capital flight in other countries like the Netherlands is unprecedented. Let's turn our focus and attention to Spain. Pedro Sanchez, the current political leader in power and in charge of the country, is pushing drastically forward to, on top of already high immigration, to legalize and import 500,000 unchecked immigrants. So you would question that decision at a first glance, especially when Spain's unemployment is still high at a staggering 10% around, even though it has been going down over the last 10 years. But yet youth unemployment is still at a staggering amount of 23, 24%. So that means almost every 1 out of 4 young people is unemployed. So claiming you need, on top of already high immigration, 500,000 unchecked young, overly men, from my point of view, most young men, people to support and stabilize the economy, doesn't really make sense when you have this high rate of young unemployment. So to dig a little bit deeper and understand the incentives and what is happening behind the curtain is, Pedro Sanchez is losing drastically voting polls and trust. His trust and his view in the society is going down. He has been suspected to be involved in a lot of scandals, corrupt business deals, and so on and so forth. The question is, why would you do and sell out your country? Objectively speaking, that from the outside looks like you're trying to buy yourself votes for the next important elections that are upcoming. Elections are next year in Spain. You need to get your voter base up to speed and in line, because these 500,000 immigrants also get right away the Spanish passport and nationality. They can vote. Voters don't, people who you are feeding don't bite into your hands. So for me, at least, it looks quite evident in interest alignments that you are buying yourself's vote with it. This is how it could look from the outside. That also goes hand in hand with his initiative and attacks against Elon Musk, trying to forbid social media and information flow, free information flow, censoring any information that is around in the internet. So far and so much to democratic processes, everyone being free to articulate their opinion. This is exactly the path towards socialism, towards dictatorship. We are going here. This also brings me to my next point and fits perfectly in Friedrich Merz's statement yesterday on the last days on this Munich Security Conference, stating now all of a sudden we need to deregulate, abolish, diminish bureaucracy, burdensome processes. Here again also, don't be blinded by political blasphemy and political statements. Look at their actions. If he really meant what he was preaching, he would start cutting and chasing down on his own ministries, departments, staff that he has. The only thing in Germany that is growing is the government, regulation, and bureaucracy forms you need to comply with. That is the only thing that is growing. So if he really is holding up to his word to deregulate, debureaucratize, and so on, and not make only empty election campaign promises, then he should start cutting down. It's not like he suddenly realized we are going down the wrong path in terms of ideological thinking and going down the wrong path. It's again, he is also losing trust and voting polls in the community, in the citizens in Germany. He now needs to align and reframe to opposing parties who gain tractions. Important elections coming up in Germany this year. Don't be blindsided by verbal statements. Look at their actions. Before he was elected, he promised intense amount of what he would do when he's chancellor, yet it turned out he didn't do anything what he promised after he was elected. So don't be blindsided. This is blasphemy. These are empty phrases. So by stating this and not doing anything, he sends again the wrong, disrespectful signal to the citizens, saying one thing, but his actions doing another. Let's move on to our European Parliament. Yesterday on the last days, they voted massively in favor of recognizing trans women as women. Let us think in what goes on in your mind when you read that. That we have from my point of view, unelected, undemocratized institution on a European level that has, on top of national politicians who we all fund and pay with our taxpayer money, we have another big bureaucratic institutional monster created with, 700-800 parliamentarians, people receiving tons of money per day, per month, having political influence, and so on and so forth. They go to that parliament. I mean, for me, it's hard to grasp. As for you, me, everyone who's hardworking, that you have democratic leaders on a European level that go to work, sit in parliament, and vote for something like this. That's the first point. The second point is they are voting in favor of such stupidity. These signs and signals globally sent out is the visualization of the downfall in Europe, mentally, ethically, that not only they go to work and vote for something like this, but also on what the outcome of that vote is. That so many people vote in favor of that. We have so many problems here. Inflation, unemployment rising, energy crisis, unstable economies, people not knowing how to feed, how to survive, no tendency, no trend reversion in sight, and yet they at the same time, while increasing on a frequent time their salaries, this is the output of work that they are producing. Let that sink in, really. Just picture that. I mean, it's hard, it's astonishing. Wild times, really wild times we're living in. Lastly, let's turn our focus to the UK and Keir Starmer, because this also fits perfectly in sending the wrong signals to the hardworking, less substance left in the population. You can make some statements, but you need to think a little bit before you generalize some statements and spread some information. Okay, on a general basis, fair, you can make such statement. But meanwhile, a lot of immigrant violence, stabbings, killings are the same as in Germany, but especially at the moment in the UK, while this escalates on a daily basis, you need to be very careful how you convey information to the outside, especially when apparently you are now involved in scandals like the Epstein scandal. It came out, or apparently Keir Starmer is also involved, somehow related to Epstein, and he is now under pressure, losing all his staff. Within a few days, a third high-ranking government official has resigned from his team. So the question really steams out wrong signals to the hard-working base citizens population who gets up early to work, who wants to achieve and build something, but yet feels unsafe in the country. And yet, while being involved into Epstein scandals, somehow he has some connections or his name shows up in the files. So he, from my point of view, transmits perfectly a political class today, the zeitgeist of our political class that says something on the one hand, but his political actions signal exactly the opposite. So from my point of view, and this holds true for most of our politicians of our time, he is not a good leader, because if you're a leader, you lead with examples. And so what you state verbally aligns with your actions. Our political leaders have become salarymen. Their interests disalign substantially from citizens. Everything we are seeing is sending the wrong signals politically, economically, socially, culturally. Guys, so having said all of this shows exactly the zeitgeist, the current state of the art of where we are standing in the European collapse. This shows exactly how broken our system is, how misaligned incentives are. It's only about political survivals to be salarymen, and panic actions, misaligned outcomes, accelerating Europe's decline. What is the solution, guys? Plan A is get up. We don't need Mr. Beast games on Amazon. We need Mr. Beast games in our society. Go out, be peacefully, but wake up. Don't live in denial. Speak out what you see. Don't deny the truth. Otherwise, everyone's children in the future generation in Europe here will pay the price. That is irrevocably unmisleading the path we are going to. We need to wake up. Otherwise, beast games will take over us. Peacefully, discuss openly, disagree, go out there. We need to go and rethink our forms our systems we live in, also including the whole political systems. It goes back to basics. Incentives needs to be aligned with interests of the citizens of the country. If that is not the case, we will see waste, we will see bad outcomes. If option A is not a solution, peacefully going out to the street, discussing reforming the system, politicians, peacefully, via normal bureaucratic processes, we need plan B, and that is peacefully resenting. You need to have your own playbook and play. And that is easy and plainly saying you need to adapt. Increase optionality. Optionality wins over stability. You need to be geographically flexible. Forget if you have assets here in Europe, if you have ownership rights, some sort of investments. Mentally disconnect, check them out. Consider them as a loss if you want to stay here in Europe. You need to have mental clarity. Focus on yourself, on your health, on multiple income streams, on working out, on educating yourself. You need transferable skills, especially related to AI, will change everything in the next 10 years. You need real and financial assets that you can also flexible transfer in a very short amount of time. But especially mindset, be agile. They are coming for us with everything. What you shouldn't do, rigidity fails. Single system dependency is wrong. Wake up and stop thinking in old, outdated patterns. Stop thinking in fixed structures. Local only exposure will punish you. Also policy reliance. You need to wake up and start thinking for yourself, taking care of yourself, also in terms of pension schemes. Pension is no longer safe here in Europe. We are going down the wrong hill. We need to be honest to ourselves. They are coming for us. They're coming for everything. The Netherlands, everything I just pointed is just a start. The next 10, 20 years will accelerate the downfall of Europe if we don't change it. If we don't change something today, we still have it in our hands, but we need to change it now. If not, Europe is going down irrevocably, and you need to be adaptive. If plan A and plan B didn't work or don't work for you, then there's only plan C. Get out of here. And that you can only do if you have plan B executed and your playbook of plan B is in place. Take care, guys. Further accelerating the downfall. All the best. Stay healthy mentally, physically, and from a social aspect. All the best to you.